Oh wow. Hello, Sacred. I'm just getting things ready. Yeah, I'm just letting people know that I'm streaming. I will read my messages later. Can I post this yet? That's so weird. Let me try this. Oh, so that works. Don't know why. Oh well. Yes. Working on Magica for the Fat Lovers Club. Figure I'd finish that up before I start working on Tiffany's picks. Likely try to work on the first two, and then I'll work on the others probably tomorrow. Streaming. Everything else should be fine. Let's move this over here. Oh yeah, let me play some music. Let's play this. Just 2 more sites, or actually I think it's like 3 more, but whatever. One of them I can skip. I'm just gonna say 2 hours for now. Very good. One more site to post. Note to self, do this a lot sooner. Okay. Oh really, this is the first stream? Alright. So, let me continue working on this and then we can do Tiffany next. Figure I'd get this out of the way, since I was already working on it. Hope everyone's doing well. Thank you to anyone who donated to the weight gain drive. That got funded way sooner than I thought it would. I did not plan for that. Well, I planned a little bit, but I just wasn't expecting it to actually happen that fast. My initial thought would be like, okay, this would probably take like, what, a month? And in the meantime, I'd probably be working on other things. But nope, it all got funded in like, technically a day. Would have been yesterday if coffee wasn't being dumb. Oh, no worries. That's why it was a community-driven thing in the first place. Because, like, some people will even pitch in, like, $1, so it wasn't like I expected people to throw in big chunks or anything like that. Though that was the case in some parts of it. Just some people toss in, like, huge chunks. And I was just like, wow. I know, right? Tiffany will like, probably be like, ah, see, I got fun in a day. What now, bitches? Actually, it doesn't make that part. There we go. That's better. Let's just get this done, and then we can move on to working on Tiffany. I know, right? Because at first I wasn't gonna like update it that soon, but I was like, yeah, I'll update it at 12, just so it's like midday type of thing. And then as soon as I did that, people were like, nah, and just finished it off. Like it was like funded in like the 10 minutes it took or the 10 minutes after I posted the mid part. I mean, if Marcy really wants to brag, I will say that the iHat Volume 1 full course edition sold quite well in comparison. Like, I'm not quite sure about the time frame, but it did quite well. As well as the Chasing a Chubby Chaser side story. Or side art, whatever you want to classify that thing as. Okay, so got all that. Now just need to do shadows. Let's save. Thank you, Coyote. Wait, Coyote, lovely. I'm assuming that you're the person, you're who I think you are, and if you are, nice to see you. I was like, wait, I know that name. Okay. Whether you are or you aren't, still welcome. Tiffany isn't gonna let this down anytime soon. She's gonna be wearing a donation speedrun crown for a bit. Yeah, right now, in terms of weight gain drives that I started, because she's literally the first one. She currently has the crown. And it was funny because I almost chose Becky to be the first one, but I was like, nah, I don't want to spam Becky. Because Becky's the type of character I have where if I do anything lewd with her, I want it to be like ridiculously rare. Because that's just like the type of character she is where catching her doing something lewd would be like a low occurrence. Or the odds of you catching her in that situation is low outside of commissions. And then I didn't want to do Marcy and Blake because I feel they've gotten enough spotlight as of late. At least not right away. Like, I don't want to use them right away. And then I was just thinking of all the other fat characters I had. Like, I was thinking of using Nadine at one point. And then I was like, you know what? Tiffany hasn't had much action lately. Let's have her do it. That's cool, Coyote. Every once in a while I'll listen to YouTube videos and stuff like that on just like discussions and stuff like that while I draw. Those are always fun. That and like ghost stories or murder mysteries. And then lately I've been watching Markiplier's Power Washer Simulator because it's just something to zone out to, and it's really fun. Oh yeah, if there's like an end to the weight gain drives, Becky will be like the final boss. That'd be funny. Tiffany will be interesting because her story is not centered. Like, if her actual story in the comics will not be focused on weight gain because she has her own thing going on. There's currently only one picture that hints to it. That was a Ask the Cast. So if you ever decide to venture back into those, then you'll get that kind of information. Yeah, I'm sure people have figured it out at this point, or at least half of it. Yeah, half sounds about right. Eight bodies were found in the attic. Some say. Not so much neat, just more like because some of the either murder mysteries or like missing people type of thing. It's like the circumstances around it are interesting and sometimes really messed up because certain situations just should not have happened the way they happened. It was just a matter of like, well, these chain of events made this happen, and it's just like, wow. But stuff like, people go missing and then they end up in the most bizarre spot that you could think of, and it just makes no sense. I know I'm shading parts that probably don't need it, but I'm just kind of preemptively doing it. And then hopefully those cards I ordered will come in soon so I can proof them. And if they look good, then yeah, I'll release the cards that Kiwi and Eden used in the card game. Or in the comic. And that'll be fun. Give people a chance to grab those if they want them. And then I'll also toss in, or I already uploaded them, or put them on the webpage, but it'll also come with the artwork that I used for Jam, Eden, and Kiwi's cards. Oh yeah, Ghost Story. Oh yeah, the TV, the anime Ghost Stories. Yeah, Ghost Stories is great. That anime is a treasure, especially the English dub. I mean, that's literally the only reason why you think about it is because of the English dub. And I love that people think that it's not official, and then when people tell them like, no, this is official, it just makes it all the more sweeter. Ghost Stories is great. Yeah, Magica was voted on Patreon, so she's one of the first winner, or one of the winners for this month. I'll probably work on April either tomorrow or later this weekend. Oh no, I haven't looked into it yet. I do have it up on a tab though. Yesterday I was dealing with Coffee's nonsense. It's like, we're going to have a not safe for work tab, but then we're not going to allow any not safe for work content. I'm like, well then why the hell do you have the tab? Showing cleavage is not a not safe for work thing. It's a pretty normal thing you see, honestly. Obviously there's an extent to that, but it's just like not a thing you would really think about in that fashion. The funny thing is, like, I hadn't even drawn anything yet that would have warranted it. Like, obviously because like one of the penalties or whatever was like, if it's connected to like a website that has mature content, and I'm like, okay, so literally every art site, because all of them have something that they would deem mature or not safe for work, so I don't know what their argument is supposed to be at that point. And I understand that they're trying to comply with PayPal, because how PayPal has to deal with it, and PayPal only cares because banks care for whatever stupid reason. Because they're like, oh, we want to be family friendly. It's like, guys, everyone buys adult stuff. It's not a secret. Everyone does it. Obviously regulated enough so that, you know, random kids aren't just stumbling upon it, like, easily. But other than that, you know, tag it appropriately and just let people buy what they want. Like, Jesus. Oh yeah, top heavy characters are fun too. I need to draw more of those. It's been a while. Mod. Why am I blinking on? Oh yeah, the big rabbit woman. I assume that's the one. But yeah, like they decided what they decided. They did like when I got the message from Coffee, they were just like, upon our investigation and claims or whatever the hell it was, um, they're unfortunately not going to repost it, and then wish me luck on any other platform. And I'm like, okay. And so as I was deleting the account, I was like, oh, would you like to give us feedback? And I'm like, revise your not safe for work thing, because it makes zero sense if people are going to post safe for work stuff, but just because it's connected to a not safe for work site or page or whatever, that safe for work content will instantly get penalized for it. But whatever. And yes, this is Magica, the old school version. But yeah, thanks again for everyone who chipped in for the drive. And then thanks for, people just following in general, like, looking at my content and stuff like that. Whether you read it for free or don't, or pay, subscribe or pay, whatever you do to see my work. Thank you for being fans. Let's make your cheeks a little rounder. There we go. Oh, yes. It's bound to happen at some point. To mess up a spell, and it's like, oh no, something's enlarging or getting bigger. That's usually the case. Either that or something explodes. Okay. Got that. Okay, that should be good. For the majority of her is pretty darkened to begin with, but let me grab these smaller details. Yeah, it's not exclusive to one thing. Like, tons of series do it on random instances of science or some bizarre mishap. Like, pretty much every cartoon has touched on some form of fetish content at some point. Some more than others. Like Totally Spies, who pretty much did it all the time. Mostly to Clover. Clover was always my favorite anyway, so that worked out. Yeah. Right? It's like, oh no. How could this possibly have happened? And then you have a whole episode centered around it. That's why it always made me laugh when people are like, oh my god, why are you drawing this? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it was growing up in the 90s where this was common. It still is common, just not as I guess excessive would be the word for it. Although there was that weird, I can't remember, was it a Nickelodeon show or something? I don't know. There's some like CG cartoon that was supposed to be for kids, I think. Not entirely sure. But it had to do with just like farting for like a whole episode and just like this kid just kind of getting off on it. And I was just kind of like, okay then. Not my thing, but it is what it is. I was just kind of surprised that it was so heavily focused on it. There we go. Sanjay and Craig. No, it wasn't that show. It was a 3D cartoon. I only saw like a couple of clips of it, so I'm not entirely sure which show it was. I like the first Total Drama Island. After a while, it was starting to become like really repetitive. I think Saber Spark covered that show, or covered the show I'm talking about. I'll have to look it up. No, it wasn't. It wasn't Fanboy and Chubs. It had to do with like elementary school kids, if I remember right. And I was just kind of like, what? Okay, I think I got what I wanted. I guess it just did well, and that's why it got so many seasons. But I don't know. It kind of fell off after the first one. Maybe the second one, to give it some leniency. But after like season 2, it was just kind of like, all right, you guys are overdoing it. But hey, if it was successful in that fashion, then more power to him. Yeah, I remember when Cartoon Network did a lot of things, but I think the worst one was getting rid of most of their cartoons and then just playing non-stop Teen Titans Go, especially for like a full week of it. And then saying like, oh, Teen Titans Go is our most successful cartoon, and I'm like, yeah, because it's literally the only cartoon you're showing. Of course it will be the most successful if it's the only one. Like, I don't know why that's a surprising sense of accomplishment. It's like, gee, if you do one thing and that one thing does good, then I guess that one thing was your best thing. Yeah, Teen Titans Go just, like the show itself is probably okay to some. I don't know how many people actually like it, but like, I just feel it's a lost opportunity because it's like you got all the original voice actors from Teen Titans. You have them in a Teen Titan related show, but you're not going to use it to continue Teen Titans. It's like, you have the actors. This is like the perfect time to do this before anything happens to any of them, or time happens and the opportunity passes. It's kind of like what happened with Star Wars Episode 7, where it's like you got the original actors from the older Star Wars, and at no point in Episode 7 did all three of them all of them come together and have like a wholesome moment, or talk to each other. There was no moment that happened, and it was like such a lost opportunity. It's like, really, at no point did you have all of them together? And now it's impossible because one of the actors passed away. So it's just like, well, great, you had your chance and you blew it. Oh yeah, Megas XLR was great. I don't know why that got let go. Yeah, I tried to make her look a little bit more blobbish, so that's why I made the boobs like a little like more saggy. I need to start doing that more often. That's why I did it with Pumpkin Pie. I need to draw slobbish characters more often. Could be a robe. I don't know. I mean, she's magic, so I assume her dress would just, somewhat compensate to a degree. Did they ever explain why Magica needed Scrooge's dime specifically? Like, I honestly forget because it's been a long time since I've watched the old cartoon. It was probably explained at one point. Because I remember they had that one episode where Scrooge was sent into the future type of thing, so... Because, like, I know it's supposed to, like, boost her magic, but, like, I don't know why it had to be specifically his dime. Like, maybe it was because it, like, had, like, all his passion or something in it. Gold was good. Got weird when they did the live-action stuff. Or I think that might have been just a movie, but yeah. That was a weird time. Or when they did the live-action Ben 10 movie. Live-action Ben 10 wasn't horrible. It was just more of like a why situation. It was just kind of like, what was keeping you guys from just making an animated movie? I mean, obviously money might be a factor, but money's always a factor. Like, that's not even a question at that point. Yeah, like, I guess the dime was just like his sense of accomplishment where, it's the first form of personal income that he ever made or something, and like it was something that was his for him to be prideful in. So maybe that's why she wanted it, because it's like an actual important thing to him, or like it's probably one of the most important things to him. Because like I knew what it was supposed to do when she got it. Like she was supposed to just have like crazy magic at that point. Because I remember the episode where she put it in that like crystal slab that she ended up using to use magical abilities. It was just kind of like, okay, what's with the dime specifically? Yeah. The problem with the Ben 10 series was after the initial series, because a lot of the stuff that happened after the initial Ben 10 season or series was like weird continuity, especially when it came to Kevin 11, because he basically lost all of his abilities that he had from the original show and just became Absorbing Man. And I'm just like, so he doesn't turn into any of Ben's creatures? Like, what the hell? And then when they did Alien X, it was the most disappointing form he's ever had. Like, they spent like a whole episode of him just standing there doing nothing. And it's sad because one of my teachers in college knew the people who were working on that show, and after that episode came out, he straight up asked them, like, what the hell was that? He was all like, what was the point of this? So yeah, like, Ben 10, Alien Force, or whatever the other spin-offs were called, was just a huge letdown compared to the original show. Well, the weird part was that in the original show they covered what happens to Kevin. Like, he ends up having a kid, and somehow he has a kid despite being trapped in another dimension, and he uses his kid in order to help set him free from his prison. Like, that was supposed to be the thing. At least in a possible timeline, I guess I should say. because obviously time fluctuates. And then I think it got weird when after Gwen was like learning magic and stuff like that, they kind of like retconned it to say like, oh, she's able to use magic because one of her relatives is an alien or like a magical entity, and it kind of like really downgraded her achievements because it's like, oh, she stole Charmcaster's book and she's been reading it and that's how she learned all her shit, and then they kind of just removed that success from Gwen. And it was really kind of messed up that they did that. Yeah, the Alien X episode, they hyped it up so much, and then when you actually watch it, he does absolutely nothing. He did like one thing, maybe two. And then he just stood there for 20 minutes for the whole episode. Well, like, they already introduced magic in their world anyway, and that's how Gwen got Charmcaster's stuff. Because she had the amulet and she had the magic book, so it's like, I don't know why you would retcon Gwen's achievement of actually learning magic and just say, like, oh, it's because she's related to a magical alien or whatever the hell it was. And I'm just like, well, that's stupid. I did like the idea they did with when Ben had the werewolf form, like, because it got scratched, he was having like a gradual transformation when his watch got scratched. Like, I thought that was cool because they treated it like a horror movie. So I actually thought that was cool. Ghost Freak was a really cool antagonist for Ben because it like gave Ben the fear of, if he turned into other aliens, is there the possibility of them like trying to take control as well. They did make it clear that I think it was only Ghost Freak that could do that, but I like that they gave him like that sense of dread, because I thought that was like a nice like danger to using the watch. Because there's been times where he's just been stuck in other forms, but he still had like his consciousness and stuff, or like his watch would like randomly shuffle around and give him like a random form, like just in every few seconds or so. So he had like no control over his transformations for a good amount of time. But like Ghost Freak actually becoming sentient was like really interesting for them to do. So I really liked that part. Or I'll be streaming for quite a while. So yeah, if you need to grab something to eat, go for it. Okay, I think I got what I needed. Save. And I'm probably gonna have to turn this off just so I can see. There we go. Inspired by Magica. Hello, Star. Yeah, welcome everybody. And like I said, thank you again if any of you pitched in for the weight gain drive. Definitely wasn't expecting it to get funded that fast. But definitely after yesterday, I was like, okay, this is gonna happen in like the next day. Which would have been funded yesterday hadn't coffee been done, but that's a whole different thing. But yeah, thank you again. And somebody is texting me. I'm drawing Magica Dispel from DuckTales at the moment. I know, right? It's like, hey, here's a fox that we can fatten up. I should probably be wary of that next time. Or any character that's in the crosshairs of being fattened up. But yeah, if I get Tiffany done in a timely manner, I might do another one soon. Yeah, we'll see. It just all boils down to is just time. Hold on a sec. Yeah. I'll answer that in a moment. I think that's fine. Don't do too much of that. Hold on, let me just answer this so that way they know what I'm doing. Okay. Sorry about that. One of my friends is doing one of those like sell your stuff online things, and they're going to meet somebody but to sell, and I'm just like, well, as long as you're in a public place and doing it in the middle of the day, and never do it at your house. Fox girls are better. Well, this duck was voted on. So, so there's that. What do I think of the Josuke Duck starter Pokemon? I mean, I was gonna pick I always pick a water Pokemon in the water starter in every generation to begin with. This one just happens to be a duck, so that worked out for me. But as far as I'm concerned, right now, yeah, he's fine. Pretty sure its evolutions won't bother me. I don't think any of the evolutions have actually bothered me. Honestly, the only Pokemon designs I actually dislike are Sock and Throw. Like, I just feel that their designs are like the most boring and uninspired. That and their names. And like their only saving grace is that they look like Bert and Ernie from Sesame Street. That's it. Like, Pokemon has literal garbage that I feel is more inspired than those two. Heck, even Voltorb and Electrode make more sense, especially given the lore that they have. I'm quiet. I can try to boost it up more. Oh, you know what? Hold on. It might have been because of that Windows update, so it might have screwed up my audio. Hold on. How do I sound right now? I'm going to do it very mildly so that way it doesn't, go crazy on everyone's ears. Yeah, I forgot that Windows had updated my freaking audio. About the same? Okay. I'm going to buff it up more. Let's try this. How's this? I forget the decimals for these things. A bit better. Alright, I'll try putting it on 1.5. How's this? Or any better at all on this one? Same as for you. Because I can't remember if the decimals was by 6s or by 3s. I'll try buffing it up another one. How's this? Testing, 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 testing. 3s, you really? Yeah, that's the hard part. Or I could probably try to hear myself on the... No, because I'm just going to end up getting an echo if I do that. That's better. Okay, I'll bump it up just a little bit more and then I'll stop. So let's try this. Okay, how's that? Let me know if this is any better. Hello, Vera. Good for you? Perfect. Alright. So 2.4 is what I have it on, so I'll have to try to remember that the next time it messes up. Yeah, I completely forgot that when Windows had their recent update, that it messed up all of my audio stuff, and I completely forgot to mess with that. Some of the lighting is probably not realistic, but whatever. It's just to highlight her outfit more. There we go. Okay. Next step. Save. Save after every step, just in case. She's in the middle of Ohio. Yeah, most of the time these types of pics get basic bitch backgrounds anyway, so it's kind of irrelevant. And the ice cream man is outside my house. It's like, sorry guys, ice cream break, and I just leave. Oh yeah, I love the Tales from the Gas Station. That was a great set. That was a great series. Yeah, Tales of the Gas Station was really good. Or Tales from the Gas Station. Hopefully there'll be more, because I think it ended. At least as far as I know, it ended. but hopefully there's more in the future, at least. Yeah, because I know there's a book of it. I just don't know if there's more after the ones that I heard on audio. Okay, here we go. There we go. Oh yeah, it's perfect series to listen to. I like listening to stuff like that when I draw. Like I was listening to the stairs video, or like, you know, mysterious stuff that happens in like parks and stuff, or forest parks and all that, and by Corpse Husband, and that one's a good one too. Okay, I think I got what I wanted on that. Save. Yeah, I think that's the name of it. But yeah, like those ones was a really good one. Were really good ones. I always wondered if the story about the guy who had his hand severed when he went on the stairs, and the story where they cut down a tree and found a hand in it. I wonder if they ever like put those two events together, assuming that it was a thing that actually happened. I think I might put like dark circles under her eyes. Just to make her look a little bit more evil. And that is my alarm that I always forget to turn off when I do a stream. Erase that. Welcome back. Get some water. The story I'm thinking of had to do with like parks, but the hand plants I think was in a different situation, because I think that's two different scenarios. But yeah, like in one of the stories, it's like a guy stepped on a set of stairs that were in the middle of the forest, and then suddenly his hand gets cut off, but they couldn't find his hand because his hand just like suddenly disappeared. And then in another story, the park had like sold some land to a lumber company, and they cut down a tree, and and they find like a severed hand inside of it, but like the hand was like fused to the tree itself. So I was curious on if those two events were connected, but it was never addressed. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought the hand plants were from the gas station one. I like the story where they thought they met Donald Glover. And they're like, "Oh my God, you're Donald Glover," and then they realize it wasn't him, because they're like, "Why the hell would Donald Glover be here?" Like that shit was funny. Like the humor in those stories was really good. Or like that one monster that was trying to put the main guy to sleep, but he doesn't sleep, so he was just kind of awake, and the monster didn't know what to do. Because they're like, "You're supposed to be asleep for this," and he's like, "Yeah, I don't sleep." Oh yeah, creepypasta stuff are fun. I sometimes I dislike the scary stories that have to do with big giant epic battles, because it always like ends up with either somebody just trying to be a badass by having like a bunch of weapons or something like that, or like it's just like this big organization doing shit. And I don't know, to me it just kind of sucks the fun out of the creepiness out of it, because it's like not necessarily explaining too much, but it's more like taking away the allure, because now it just sounds like an action movie. That's why I like the movie Sinister, because it was just a story that you could not defeat the creature in. It's like, no, this is just a naturally occurring creature that has existed forever. Deal with it. Like, there's no answer to it, and that's what made it fun. Yeah, because it's like, because like I always dislike it where it's like they come across a creature or whatever, and then they suddenly find out that it's been part of this ancient civilization for like thousands of years and blah 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 blah, and yet somehow they find the means to stop it. And usually those means are just like common ritualistic stuff, or like common religious stuff, like holy water, or pray a certain way, or kill it with fire. Just the basic stuff. And it's just like, guys, it's been around for thousands of years, and yet your small scenario just happens to be the way that stops it. And granted, like, stories like that can exist, but I don't know. I guess it just boils down to, I have a preference when it comes to scary stories, and I prefer it to just be focused solely on, the creature doing its shit. Like, here's an entity that steals your face if you show emotion. Try to get through without showing emotion. Because that's what made Ko from Avatar: The Last Airbender interesting, because it was like, oh, it's literally a creature that steals your face if you do that. So Aang had to like not show emotion. And like it was like a small scene, like Ko, doesn't show up again at all. I think he shows up in the comics, but that was a whole other thing. But that was like, creepy. It's like, okay, it looks like this giant centipede like eyeball creature with a shit ton of faces. And that's what made him fun. Okay, so did that. Let's just add in the dark. circles on our eyes real quick. So yeah, I just enjoy the creatures kind of like doing their thing, but also like I also don't like the creatures being too overpowered, where they can just kind of do anything. Like, you know, give some balance to what they do. That's why the SCP stuff are pretty good, because they have like a pretty decent balance with all of the anomalies. Actually, I wouldn't go that far up. There we go. Yeah, kind of like how some of the back rooms are getting a little bit too spammed. Or at the very least, like they can continue doing backdoor stuff, like, you know, exploring and stuff, but you don't have to explain everything. Because at a certain point, what is there to explain? You're in some trippy ass universe where weird creatures are roaming around and you don't know what they do. Yeah, 173 was a special case because, you know, it had to do with the owner of the design of the character. Because when 173 was first used, it was without the permission of the person who made it. So it's more of a copyright thing. So I understand why they had to change it. At least they came up with a decent story on how they changed it. Because now it's like fused with like a person, with that one machine that like improves things. So now it's like a fusion between a human and the statue itself. So now it's an entirely new character, and it sort of aids into SCP-5000 with the soldiers that act like 173. So that works perfectly. Okay, I can turn that back on, and let's get some more music. Yeah, like how they explain how the duplicating cake can destroy the world, technically. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense. And I like that SCP Foundation doesn't have an actual canon, so you can just kind of do whatever. I was like half tempted to try to put a character into SCP, but then I was just like, nah, I'd rather just keep the character for myself and use it for whatever I would use it for. I was like very close to doing that. And I was just like, nah, I'm good. I know, right? But yeah, like duplicating objects is not like a super original thing. So like obviously anybody can use it, and plus, even if they did take it from SCP, the whole point of SCP is for people to freely use those stories to do whatever they want. Like that's literally the point. But but yeah, like I like how something so like minor in SCP can turn out to be like some devastating thing, like the infinite toilet paper. And I love watching people's reactions to those particular stories, where it's like, where they're like, infinite toilet paper, how is this a problem? And then they hear the story, and they're like, oh shit. Like, that makes it really fun. No, the cake just kind of duplicates itself, um, like almost instantly, especially if you don't finish it. You'll just like, I think I think if you don't finish it, it like reforms and then creates a duplicate of itself. Whereas the infinite toilet paper, you have to like maintain a certain because it's like the toilet paper is part of like a reactor, and you can't let the reactor go critical, but you also can't, use too much of the toilet paper because the toilet paper uses up thermal energy, but like it'll also drain it from other surrounding objects and areas. So you can't take too much toilet paper, but if you don't take any after a certain amount of time, then it starts to go critical and it'll cause a explosion. So you're kind of trapped in an infinite loop. And I think you have to pull like, what was it, like 8 sheets every 7 hours or something like that. So you're fucked. It's like you have to have somebody there to do it. And like they have it like hooked up to like a generator or something like that, so that way if something were to happen, it'll have a power source to feed off of. So it's just like, so it's just like a whole scenario. And then I forget, because I know there was like a proposal to use the toilet paper that they end up pulling, but for some reason it was denied. At one point, it was just like, they're like, no, we're not using this toilet paper, and I'm just curious on why. I can't remember if they said a reason. But yeah, like stuff like that makes it fun, where it's like, oh, here's infinite toilet paper. Okay, what's its destruction level, or the danger level of this thing? And it's like, oh, it's a Keter. Yeah, we'll get fucked if something happens to this thing. Oh, it has to be 4 sheets. Oh yeah, no, never mind. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Once a day the cake duplicates. If not eaten, then 2 so far. So 1 needs to, or 4. Okay. Okay, so you get 4 if it's not eaten after a certain point. Yeah, but you can see how much of a problem that will become if they're not finished. So yeah, it's just like one of those things where it's like if you leave it alone too long, then you're screwed. I like the bag of potatoes one. Yeah, that was a fun one. And it's like a whole other alternate universe inside the bag. But they don't know what the hell happened to it. All they know is that it got overrun by potatoes. And like they found like, trees and like a broken bicycle, but nothing else because they decided to turn back. So it's just like one of those scenarios where you're just like, Jesus. But yeah, stuff like that are really fun. I always have fun with most of the Keters. And then the Euclid ones like 1471 are fun. That's why I had that one costume to kind of look like 1471. Because that one's one of my favorites for obvious reasons. Okay, we're almost done with Magica. Right? Like, they'll just turn random shit into SCPs, and it's really funny. I like the Power Claw one. The Power Glove, or yeah, I think it's called the Power Glove, where it's just a claw arm, but it's stuck on 11. And so you can literally crush anything, including the moon, if you chose. And they're like, yeah, let's not let's not let people get this one. Oh yeah, IKEA is fucking fun. Like, I enjoyed that story. That story was messed up too, because the guy had survived that long only to get screwed over at the very end. Yeah, the Nintendo Zapper, the Nerf gun. Yeah, like SCP is basically just spooky Pokemon. Not all of them are monsters. A lot of them are just like random ass objects. And I like the Are We Cool Yet group, because like one of their jokes that they played on the SCP Foundation was they made a robot that's job is to collect things just like the SCP Foundation. That's why its name is Skip SCP, and it had like they like went to where I think they went to where the robot came from, and all they found was like a letter and a bottle cap, and they weren't sure if the bottle cap was an anomaly or not, and so they just took it just in case. Because it's like, we don't know what it fucking does, but we can't just leave it here. So it was one of those scenarios. Oh yeah, the plastic flamingos. That shit is fucking crazy. Yeah, I've listened to quite a few of them. I haven't listened to all of them, but I like the ones I have listened to so far. One of these days I'll try to just sit down and just like have something on that where people just talk about each of the SCPs. That'll be a fun time. The Flesh That Hates is a good one too. And like the visual aid that a lot of SCPs get are really good. Okay, so got that. A little bit of shiny boob. Shiny booba. But yeah, I enjoy SCP stuff. I like spooky, scary stuff. Lord help me if I'm ever in a situation like that, though. I'd be like, nope, I'm pretty much dead. What does this thing do? Turn us into werewolves? Cool. I'll go do that. I'll go turn into a werewolf. Totally worth it. Then there's like the psychotic or the crazier SCP ones, like the clown, Bobble the Clown. At least I think it's Bobble the Clown. It might be a different one because I think there's like several clown SCPs. I know there's those one clowns where you have to like milk them before they explode. If I could make a kink SCP, I mean, I'd be surprised if there wasn't a kink SCP at this point. If I had to make, if I could make one, I have no idea, honestly. I guess it boiled down to trying to figure out what hasn't been done or what hasn't been given a certain spin and go from there. And plus, technically anything can be a fetish, so that's kind of a vague question. Yes, there is an SCP where you have to milk the clowns. Because if you don't, they explode. Yes. Oh yeah, bursting fetish, that's already been a thing. Clowns specifically, probably already a thing. I'd be surprised if it wasn't. Like, a lot of fetishes pretty much got covered in the 90s, so... Okay, I think I got everything I need. Now let's adjust a few things, because I want to add in effects and stuff, but I don't want it to get cut off. So let's move her here. That should be fine. Oh yeah, I need to do this. I always try a 4 and it just doesn't look right. 3 is always somehow the best one. Yeah, 3 is always the best one. It's weird. Oh yeah, I forgot to shine up her eyes. Well, there's like a weird chicken man monster thing that lays eggs, but I think like the eggs are like acidic on the inside or something like that. And I forget how you kill them. I think you can burn them, but like if you leave them alone too long, they just turn into more giant chicken men like monsters, and they like they just eat flesh, and it's really disturbing looking. Darkwing DW, I'm sure could make. I mean, I drew female Negaduck at one point. Yeah, SCP, you can do whatever you want. It's just really fun. I like the fact that a lot of people came together to just make crazy, bizarre stories of random objects and creatures. And it's just like a community-based thing that people all agree with, and it's fun, and people can do whatever they want with it. Okay, so did that. Let's give her a background first. Oops, wrong button. And just some basic bitch background. Probably blue and purple, something like that. Let's try this. Well, there is a weight gain SCP. That one's trippy because it's just kind of like a part of your body that just kind of decides to puppet you around. Or I think it like has to enter your body first, but it's like it goes into your body, puppets you around. And like you start to like black out randomly, and when you wake up you're in front of the television with like a shit ton of food already eaten, and then it kind of just keeps happening over and over and over until you're at the point where you're stuck at home just gorging. Like there's that one. Yes, this is a Fat Lovers Club pick. This one will be on Patreon and then sold later. Okay, let's see. And I'll have like, the extra stuff that I usually toss in when I have it on Patreon and Subscribestar and all that. Next. It's a little too much. Let's go this way. that's better. Yeah, it's really trippy though, because like it takes over your body to the point where all it cares about is just watching television and eating, and then every once in a while your consciousness comes back and just basically being asked to be put down, because you only have like a few minutes before you're sucked back in. There's like a similar SCP that's like a man in a sloth costume, and that one, like you'll constantly see it, I think on like in television or just like in certain areas and stuff like that, and then after a certain point you just become paralyzed, and I think you if I remember correctly, I think all you do is talk about the sloth for a bit, but other than that you're just basically paralyzed, and then for like 10 minutes a day or something like that you have a chance to speak. It's either 10 minutes or an hour or something like that. I think the time varies, but yeah, it's just some trippy shit. It's been a while since I've listened to a lot of these, so I'm probably off on a bit of details. Oh yeah, two dudes in a llama costume. Like some of the SCPs are just like goofy and bizarre, but then like even the goofy and bizarre ones can be creepy, because when you see them you're just like, okay, this is clearly this, but then when you dive deep into it, it's like something more sinister or more creepy or more bizarre than you thought it'd be. And sometimes the stories are also really sad too. Like the chair. Like the chair story is really sad. But yeah, if I ever made like spooky creatures that had to do with fetishes and all that, I'd just do it myself in my comics. Because it's like, why not? It's like, here's this demon. Alright, what does it do? Well, you get fat if you don't do this, or I don't know, curse somebody so that if somebody else eats something, then the other person gets fatter. So it can do something like that. I mean, I already have two characters that have that kind of story anyway. It's just a matter of when I show that one. We'll get there when we get there. And then there's like, the other stories that I want to tell, like, alien tentacles, eggs, blah blah blah. Okay, I did that. Just gotta do 2 more things and we're pretty much done. So that way this will be like kinda like a variant. Because there's going to be a version of this with magic and without the magic. So let's turn on the glow. There we go. Yeah, I think I've seen that comic. At least I think it was a comic. Well, there's been multiple comics and sequences, but yeah, I think I remember seeing one where a girl turns into a cat with a bell. I just love the fact that the creator of Astro Boy was a furry. That shit was funny. Because years later, his daughter like found his like hidden stash of artwork, and it was like a bunch of like sexy rat women and stuff. Especially, it made a lot of sense because if you ever watched, I think it was, what was it called? It was Baggy Feast of the Forest or something like that. Oh, God damn it, this is gonna get to me. I need to look this up now. I think it was like Monster of the Forest. Baggy, the Monster of the Mighty Nature. There we go. Of Mighty Nature. Yeah, like, because I have his art book, and in the art book you see her in like motorcycle clothing, and she's like, you know, in kind of like suggestive positions and stuff while she has the motorcycle. So yeah, like, it explained a lot after after having that art book, and then learning about him having his hidden art stash. I was like, oh yeah, that explains a lot. So, like, not a negative at all. If anything, more power to him. It's like, yeah, you do what you want. Or like how Dr. Seuss had like a lot of dark artwork. Like his dark artwork was really cool though, because just like a lot of like depressing scenes and like creepy worlds he was making. So it was really cool. Because like a lot of artists just don't get to really show that side of them a lot of times, especially if they're working with like family-friendly content. Then they kind of have to have both those two things separated, unfortunately. Because you know how people get all freaking sensitive about that stuff. Which boggles my mind. It's like, guys, we can have both, you know? It's not like a one or the other scenario. I'll tone this down once I get what I need. Turns people into fat stripper girls if they don't stop dancing. Or that don't stop dancing. I don't know if I've seen that one. I'd have to like see it to know. But that would probably explain that one commission I got where a fat Becky gave somebody a drink and it turned them into a woman and they had to dance. So that would explain where that came from. If assuming that's what the inspiration was. Well, the one that I have was just called Fat Hooters. It wasn't called the special. Or are you talking about the drink that was called the special? I thought for a second there I thought that was the name of the comic. Yeah. Okay, if that's the one you're talking about, then yeah, that was me. Sorry, like half the time I'm like trying to remember if we're talking about like somebody else's work or mine. Okay, let's kind of make it flow a bit on her. So that way it looks like she has like an aura. Okay, let's tone this down a bit. And now let's just crank it all the way up. It's fine as it is. Although I do think I'll give her an aura natively. Just in case. Yeah, this should work. Let's try 10. Let's color that green. Let's rasterize. Let's try 20%. Or whatever 20 means in this. let's try 10. Yeah, 20 should be fine. Yeah, that looks fine. What would it look like if I did this? That's not bad either. I think I'll keep this one because it's a little bit more prevalent. And then just tone it down a bit. Yeah, that works. Yeah. Yeah, like, because, like, to me, there's pretty much two ways of doing it when you're trying to do fetish stuff. You're either going to make it not canonical to anything, so that way you can just have dumb fun and not have to adhere too much to logic when it comes down to your world building and stuff like that. And if you are going to connect it to, like, an actual world with, like, actual plot and continuity and stuff like that, then you got to figure out what rules does the fetish or whatever it is you're doing lock into. And then if you're trying to make your story have like an actual plot, then the fetish kind of has to come second, because if you're focused too much on your fetish, then you kind of lose it. You kind of lose your story to itself. It's kind of like if you're trying to make a story about, like, say, a gay character, but then all your character is that they're gay, and that's it. Like, there's no substance to it. There's no personality. It's just they're gay for the sake of being gay. Then it kind of loses all meaning in the point. Like, just make a normal character who happens to be gay. Like, that's it. There's not a mystery with it. Okay. I think I'm good. I just gotta toss in some lighting. So let's put this on top. So let's try 30%. Yeah, I think that works. Let me just tone it down just a little bit more. How does 20 look? Probably 10. Yeah, that's better. Excuse me. Come on. Come on, open up. I should probably save. That would be a smart thing to do. As soon as I find what I'm looking at, here it is. Copy. Wrong one. Oh yeah, still need to add in magic circles. That's what I was forgetting. Yeah, I'll be working on Creamfield soon. And I don't know, we're just gonna make up some. And we're gonna wait because my computer is trying to. Oh, no, wait. There we go. I always forget that I have to double click on that. Yeah, stop procrastinating. Go do something. Good. Glad Becky Becky ruffles your feathers. Slut for the chubby women. Yeah, I'm just gonna make up some random ass symbol. That can look nicer. There we go. Maybe like add in like another circle or something. There. And who dares summon me? Okay. Don't say ruffles my feathers. That reminds me that Latius has feathers, not scales. Just like big girls in general. Yeah, nothing wrong with big women. It's always a plus. At least as far as I'm concerned, it's always a plus. But skinny women are also fine too. Like flat is fine as well. I have no problems with either. And I'm just gonna get weird and just put this random line here. I have no idea what any of this means, assuming it means anything. Okay. Just gonna have one here. And we'll make a... Well, actually, I should probably set this one up first. Give you a glow. Do I need to blur you? Yeah, I was gonna blur you. What? What do you want? Okay, cool. Yeah, like there's a limit to everything. Because obviously too much of one thing can ruin it. So it's just a matter of whatever your preference and balance is. So I feel like I need to make a copy of this and then change the setting. That's not too bad. I might use that. Trying to make it stand out while still having the green. This was fine, but I still feel that the color might not be good enough. It's one of those situations where you gotta like change it slightly. Let's give you the glow. Yeah, like, you gotta balance all that out. And obviously you gotta find somebody that's actually into that stuff. So, just a matter of preference and stuff like that. I think this is fine, because that way it has a little bit of green. I think there was another that was like it. Yeah, that one's difference. So then, this is difference. This is exclusion. The exclusion is slightly lighter. So, fuck it, we'll just use these two. Alright, so spent more time on that than I needed to, but whatever. And we'll just move these to make it look like it goes to the tips of her fingers. Change this one. Skew the shape. Probably do the same to this one a bit. Well, yeah, that's why a lot of stuff you just keep in fiction, because obviously it's not everything is going to be realistic. But I don't know, because there's always been bizarre shit that goes on, so whatever works, I guess. Alright, so we did all that. And I think we're good with her. And pretty much got everything I need. I'll render her out later. We'll save. But yeah, I think I like how this came out. Don't think there's anything I need to change. But yeah, there's gonna be like versions without the aura and stuff like that, and like, flat color version and stuff like that. So we'll keep that. I'm gonna need it later. Well, now I can just close it because I'm gonna grab it later. Okay, so oh yeah, I'm gonna close all these folders. Actually, I think I'm missing one thing. This shouldn't take too long. I think it's you that I use it for. This is super minor, and probably nobody would have noticed if I hadn't said anything. Black. do we need more? Sure. Actually, I think I could just take the one I already have. There, problem solved. And I'll just put all three of them into one folder. There we go. I'm curious, Viro, sorry if this sounds creepy weird. Do I enjoy my art for downtime, or... Yeah, I enjoy my art during downtime. Most of the time me drawing my own stuff is my downtime. Do I have a catch of my own art? I mean, I had World Gates and all the others are for me. Like, I make them for me, but I also share them with everybody else. Like, I don't treat those works as like a job or anything. For me, the parts that felt like a job are stuff like commissions, and like technically like drawing Magica. To me, that's part of the job, because it's more for you guys than it is for me. Like, I wouldn't mind drawing... Like, obviously I would draw characters either risque, lewd, fat, whatever, on my own as well. But, like, this is, like, you know, one that was picked by, you know, the fans. So this is the one that I'm, like, obligated to draw, at least because I chose to do so. But yeah, like, to me, this is technically the job. But, like, drawing my own characters in my own comics and whatever bizarre situations that I feel like putting them in, that's for me. That's the fun part that I get. Not what you meant. Can you be more specific then if I'm not getting it? Sorry. But yeah, that's how I feel on that matter, at least. Okay, we can close Magica. Oh, hey, Blake. Don't think I need you right now. Open up a new folder. And just for fun, I'll just have this open on the side. She can, well, if that's the case, then I'm not going to need the text, am I? Let's have her be over there looking pretty. Don't need these. Oh, do I have my own stash of lewd art that I don't want to share? No. Pretty much open to sharing what I draw. Yeah, like, the drive stuff, like, I hadn't even had a chance to work on it. Like, I was about to work on the first two and be like, okay, I'll work on the first two, figure out the whole coffee thing, and then when I do get the other drive going, then wait and see what happens when people, or to see how long it takes for people to fund it. But you guys funded it in like a day, so technically, I'll say it was a day because technically, if the nonsense that happened didn't happen, it would have been a day. But yeah, like, wasn't expecting it to get funded that quickly, so I have not had a chance to work on any of the after stuff. Because my original thought was I was gonna work on because my first thought was like, should I work on all of them and then make the drive, but then it was like, what if they don't get funded? So I didn't want to waste all that time, so I decided to wait until they actually got funded. Do fetish artists get off to their own fetish art? I mean, they can. Nothing wrong with it. Well, this is going to be a sequence of events, so the first two drawings will be like the start of the aftermath of Tiffany being in that line. That was basically my question. I didn't know how to word it. Oh. Like, do I get off to my own art? I mean, I can if I choose to. Obviously, characters fattening up is a button press for me. So when I'm drawing it and I'm getting all into it, it's like, oh yes, this is going to be great. You gotta be passionate about your art. That's how it ends up being good. Oh no, you didn't make me uncomfortable. I'm good. I mean, people can get off to anything. Like, you really don't have any power over what they get off on. Like, you could draw something completely wholesome and people will still find a way to make it lewd. So, don't worry about it. All that matters is, you being actually interested in the stuff you make. Because, like, the worst thing you could do is force yourself to do something you don't want to do. It's only because it's a bit of a writing time. Yeah, like, I'm sure people get, riled up or whatever if they're in the middle of making a fetish comic, because, or a fetish story or whatever, because, you're trying to make it as either interesting or realistic or whatever as possible. So you have to, like, kind of get in that mindset to make it work in the first place. So you're probably gonna feel something when you're working on it, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just don't be like the people who are making like a story and then go and reenact those the ideas in real life, or like that one guy who wanted to write a murder story and decided to go kill people so that way he could write about them in his story. So yeah, like there's things like that you don't want to do. Oh, trust you can do pretty much anything that you're not into if the compensation is enough. Like, there are people that do a lot of things they don't like, but because it makes money, they keep doing it. Like, there's some fetish artists that make a lot of money doing what they do, and I've heard from them that they actually, you know, want to do other things, but because the audience is there for the one gimmick that they're known for, or at least the one fetish that they're known for, that they keep doing it because it brings in the money. It pays the bills. And I can't blame them. Like, I totally understand. It just sucks if they feel that they're, you know, stuck in that role because of that. Like, they're either afraid to do something different because they're afraid that, you know, they'll lose income, or they're just not willing to take that chance anymore. Excuse me. Like, there's a popular artist that I know who does the weight gain stuff, and they have expressed that. That's why in their comics they try to add in a few other things, but ultimately the weight gain is, you know, the bread and butter. So, it is what it is. Yeah, like this was like, I don't know, 2-3 years ago though, because it was when no lunch break was still a thing, and Kip had said, like, you know, they wanted to do more gay stories, but, you know, they have to include the weight gain stuff because that's what the audience is there for, and that explains why my eraser is not working right, because I am using the wrong one. Because I'm like, why is it taking so long to erase? There we go. Yeah, people are there for the weight gain stuff, but they want to do other stories. They don't want to do the same thing over and over. But that's kind of what they're locked into at this point. So they try to throw in the stuff that they want to do, which is, like, you know, the romance part of the comic, and then they add in the weight gain stuff. That's why you kind of see the weight gain stuff far and in between each of those moments, because the weight gain stuff is secondary, and the lesbian romance is the primary. Although I do feel that the romance between I forget the main characters' names from No Lunch Break, like her and her girlfriend. I think their relationship was kind of too fast, personally. And I feel that I think it was her name Tina. I forget her name, the one that looks gothic. But I feel her mannerisms kind of changed a little too abruptly. Like, she kind of sounds more cutesy all of a sudden, and I don't know. It just feels like she's out of character compared to how she was in the beginning. Because not a lot of time had passed, and she, like, almost doesn't act the way she did at all. And granted, you know, people can change, but I don't know. It feels too abrupt, personally. But that was my thoughts. I just felt that it was a little rushed. And then sometimes it feels like the main character wasn't really, like, interested in that way, but kind of just accepted it. Like, if that was the goal of pairing them together, that's perfectly fine, but it just, I don't know, there's like some parts of it that didn't feel natural. So, like, if you ever decide to reread it, it's like, it's during the scene when they get in the hot tub that that's where you kind of see their shift, and it just feels a little off, personally. At least that's where it started for me, at least. Like, that's where I first noticed that something felt off about their pairing. But yeah, like, again, like, you don't want to feel like you have to be trapped and forced into doing something you don't want to do, but I also understand why people do the things that they don't want to do. Like Seth MacFarlane, who does Family Guy, he's already expressed that he'd rather do other stuff, and people have asked him, why does he still do Family Guy? And it was because Fox kept paying him, so he just kept doing it. Yes, I know. I'm sorry. I read stories for the plot. Who's my favorite non-fetish and fetish artist? Uh, Good lord. I honestly have no answer because I like a lot of artists. Like a lot of artists. I cannot answer that. Like, I literally have folders upon folders of just artwork specifically saved to each individual artist. Like, I have folders for, like, themes on their own as well, but, like, for any artist that I want to save their work and keep, archived, I have it all put in individual folders. So, I literally cannot answer that. Like, I've been saving content since I was 13. I have that much content on my drives. That's why I got really spooked back in 2017 when one of my drives just decided to die randomly. And it would not plug into my desktop, but for some reason, it would plug into my laptop and start working. Because I was so close to reformatting it because I felt that it's like, oh, maybe it's dead, I gotta do this or whatever. And I was so close to doing that, but then I noticed that it turned on when it was plugged into my laptop, and I did not know why. Like, there was no explanation for it, because it wouldn't work on my desktop for whatever reason. And so, I had to literally, I ran out, bought a new drive, as well as a book drive, like the big fat ones that I have for storage and all that. That's like 6 terabytes big. And because of my drive being damaged or whatever the hell was wrong with it, it would only transfer data in kilobytes. Straight up kilobytes. And it literally took one entire week to back up all of my stuff from start to finish. My laptop put in work that year. My fetish situation. I've heard of my fetish situation. I don't think I've heard of bat spid. I can't remember if my fetish situation is no, I can't remember if FAF is involved in that one, but I can't remember. I'll have to look into that. But yeah, like, when backing up my work was like fucking murdered, because at the time that was like 17 years worth of content that I had saved, and I did not feel like losing any of it. Yeah, that's what I think. Or at least he has told me that it's not him specifically, but it's like people working under him or something. I don't know. I might be wrong. I just know that he is involved in some certain way. But yeah, the styles are kind of close in some aspects. So it could be him. I don't know. I mean, it ultimately doesn't matter. But Faf's situation is interesting, to say the least. Yeah, like because like the problem that I don't think, well, I'm sure he understands it, is just how he wants to do things. Is like if you were to read some of his comics that you have to pay for, if you like, let's just say let's just say I'm paying for his work and I'm on like page 300. If you were to subscribe today into his comic, it would take, and let's just say it took me 7 months to get to page 300. It would take you 7 months from today to get to where I am today. That's how long it would take. Because you're put on a time system. You're not put on like a back. You're not able to get backlog for some of the comics. Like you get them as they come out, and that's it. Or you're put on a time schedule, and however long it took for others to get to that point in time, that's how long it's going to take you to get there. Yeah, he's done a lot of stuff. I do not like how I did your hair on that end. Let's change that. But yeah, like, he has said that at some point, whenever Hetty finishes, that he'll probably release it as like a set to buy. So that's like the only real light at the end of the tunnel for those who are still interested in reading the series. But other than that, you have literally no other way of reading that comic until that point. And that was like literally the reason why I started drawing iHat, was because, well, I can't read Hetty anymore, and Hetty was interesting at the point where I was at the time, because I think I was on like chapter 4 at the time. And since I couldn't read it anymore, I was like, fuck it, I'll draw my own comic. And so I did. So out of spite, I drew Eddie, or not Eddie, iHat. Yeah, and one of the biggest things was that he was upset that his content leaked. But at the same time, if it hadn't have leaked, I would have never come across it, because I didn't even know who the heck he was until that point. I just came across it randomly on random furry sites that I go to, and there it was. And I was like, oh, this is really good. I want to support it. But because I was like a year behind when all his drama started, there was no way for me to support his work, because he had already gone into lockdown and all the other stuff that he did. So it was a shame, because I was like, well, it's really well done. I at least the parts that I was reading, and I was very interested on reading more, but I had zero way of supporting it. Yeah, like I've seen the stuff that's gotten released now, and he's even given me the okay that I can read it, any of the leaked stuff or whatever. Like, he's giving me the okay. But it's just sad. It's like, you want to support it, and it's like, okay. As far as I'm aware, he's still working on it, but like very slowly, and it's however long that's left on it. And then, who knows? Because, like, a lot of the time he'll say, like, oh, his comic's coming to the end, but because of how slowly he updates them, it'll take, like, literal years before that point. And who knows what will happen between that time. Like, you might gain interest and try to bring it back to life or something. I don't know. It would be like, in order to get anything done, you'd have to overwhelm him with support. But at the same time, that means that he would have to take his time off of the other projects that he's already doing. So I don't know. I honestly don't know at this point, because I feel there was a solution to his problem, but he decided not to take it. That's like the best way I can put it. I want to say yes, he does have additional people working for him because I know he does for the 3D comic that he's doing, the Vorkamp one. It just depends on how everything gets worked on. Same thing for pest control. And like none of the comics are bad. Maybe they have some like writing issues every once in a while in terms of like, you know, how characters interact with each other. But other than that, it's like the art's fine, the whatever Kinky's doing is fine. There's nothing ultimately wrong with the art itself. It's just he has a very bad way of treating his followers and community. That's basically it, really. That's like the only flaw. Let's do that better. To be honest, I have no fears. Yeah, I'll keep drawing as long as I can. Oh, thank you. I'll keep trying my best. I'll try not to suck any more than I already am. Because you know me, I get all uppity about trying to make something look as nice as possible. I'll even go back and be like, this one little pixel isn't colored, and I know nobody's going to notice this, but I notice it, so I'm going to reopen the file, go back in there, go and color it, resave it, and then repost it on all the sites that it's already posted on. And then there we go. Or like how I redrew Marcy like 2 or 3 times in True Ending. Oh yeah, drawing is always going to make me happy. Yeah, I've seen his older work. Like, Vorkamp is another remake. Pest Control's a remake. Hetty... I would say Hetty had like a first draft and then got more fleshed out the second time. I won't call that one a remake. I don't know if he's done any of the others, but I'm aware of like Vor Party. But that was like a different thing. So yeah, he's got like 3 remakes, and one of them is like, you know, the one that was bringing in the bread and butter until he shut everybody down. Oh yeah, and just so you know, none of these pics of Tiffany are canon. Like, this is just dumb fun. Oh yeah, I still need to do more with this burger. Yeah, I didn't want to tie anything canonical to this stuff. Hetty is a mega bitch. Yeah, that she is. The last part that I read of Hetty before there was like no more updates or anything was when she went on that date with the horse guy and she was eating at the restaurant. That was the last bit I read. And I think like since I guess no, he's probably not going to do it at this point. He's just going to wait until it's all done. Because I was going to say he could start doing stuff now, but he's probably going to assume that the moment he does, that's when more leaks are going to happen. But I don't know. There's no real... Well, there's a right answer, but it's the answer he doesn't want, so... Yeah, like I've heard he probably gets she gets more of a becomes more of an asshole, which is kind of like what's our I guess what's her name from Vorkamp isn't too much of an asshole. She's just becoming more of a glutton at the moment. I mean, I don't know, it might change over time. Let's see, what's she done? Yeah, like I'm sure she cheated on Jimmy at some point. Like I'd be surprised if she didn't, honestly. But who knows? I have not read it, so I do not know. Because I have no means of being able to read it. And I've even told Fav, I was like, dude, I would support you if you just, get your shit together. But I don't know. But he was hell-bent on not letting any more people in. But, like, the weird part that he said was, like, he'll keep drawing it, or making the comics until people lose interest. And I'm like, but wouldn't you get more interest if people were able to read the comic? Like, it doesn't help that you're locking it down, because then you're not getting any more interest. And people can't be interested in something they can't read or interact with. All they know is that it exists, and that's it. But I don't know. He must have known something that I don't. So it beats me. You never heard her seen Hetty? Yeah, I know, right? That's the joke. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I'm. If anything, I'm kind of glad things happened the way they happened, because if they didn't, then I would not have had iHat in the form that it is currently. Because before Marcy and Skylar, there was going to be a different character that was going to be part of iHat, and iHat was going to have a completely different story. And some of the characters' story got shifted over to Blake. So she has some of that original character's story. Not all of it, because there's stuff that I can still use for that older character. But, things happen the way they happen. But I'd have to say I'm, at least on my end, I'm glad, because if it didn't happen the way it happened, I would not have Marcy and Skylar and all the other stuff that came from it. So, diamond in the rough situation. Faf has said that I'm allowed to draw Hetty, as long as I'm not trying to claim that whatever content I make with her is like official from him, or that the character is mine or anything like that. So would be interesting to make my own take of Hetty, but at the same time, kind of already have that with Marcy and Skylar at this point. Let's change this. It kind of just be doubling back at that point, so I'll probably just draw her every once in a while for fun, like I did that for one of the character polls. And then the rest, and then any other time would just likely be my own stuff, or whatever other fan art I feel like doing. All right. Just a conversation. But yeah, I will say that Hetty is a unfortunate an unfortunate casualty to a possible gem story, or at least a gem part of the fetish. It's like, oh, this would have been great if only this situation did not happen. And then it definitely got confusing once you later find out that for some comics, or at least one of them that I know of, that some of the story was skipped on purpose because they didn't think, FF didn't think that people would be interested in the context. And I was like, so we just skipped 15 pages for no reason? Other than he just wanted to cut to the chase? Oh yeah, that was a commission with the with Pepper exploding. But I have to clarify, that was a commission by two different people, because like the first 3 pages of that was commissioned by one person, and then another person wanted to base the exploding part off of that previous commission. Like if they it wasn't like these two knew each other or worked together or anything like that. They just wanted the second person just wanted a commission based off of that, and then wanted her to Pepper to explode. So yeah, that's actually 2 different commissions. That one just wanted to be an extended version of that. That's why I have them marked off as B or whatever the heck I put on it, because it wasn't the same person that commissioned it. Yeah, it was kind of like a duo commission, but it wasn't planned. Oh yeah, that commission. Yeah, it'll be a while before I decide to open back up for commissions. Because the reason why mostly the reason why I stopped is that it just felt like it was getting too samey, and I was just like, I was getting to the point where I was actually starting to dread doing commissions, and I didn't want to have that feeling. So I did. So I figured, stopping or at the very least take a very long hiatus from them was the best answer, because I didn't want to like start cheapening out on my quality just to get the commission over with. And I didn't want to like have that feeling of like, oh, I gotta work on this thing. That's why I did the character polls and the Fat Lovers Club, because it feels more fun this way. Because, people are voting on, what characters they want to see get fat or what fan art they want me to draw. And it's completely random for the most part, other than like picking the theme or something. And then it does. I don't know. It doesn't like doing those doesn't feel like dreadful work. I guess to be the best way to put it. It doesn't feel like something I don't want to do. Yeah, and the whole point of Fat Lovers Club as well is that there's going to be times where I'm not drawing weight gain content or fat content and stuff like that. And so the Fat Lovers Club is kind of to mediate that. So it's like, okay, I'm working on, let's just say, a bondage comic. No weight gain involved, but we still have Fat Lovers Club, so there you go. You still get your weight gain content or fat content. It just won't be in a comic format for a while. Or however long it is until I decide to do another weight gain comic. And then there'll always be like art sets that I'll work on too that might have weight gain stuff in it. So it's not like I'm stopping forever. I mean, obviously that's because of Fat Lovers Club too. But if that was like, even if that wasn't the case, it's not like I'm never gonna do it again. I just like other things. So that's why technically Creamfilled was more of a reactionary series that I probably should not have done. But glad I did it, because now I have the characters and stuff that I got with Creamfilled. But back then that was more of a panic reaction, because I was done with neutral ending I had at the time, and people were just deciding to drop because they thought that, okay, he's done, he's going to work on I Had To, and I Had To is not weight gain themed. So they're starting to leave, and so that's when Creamfield became a thing. So yeah, it was a reaction I should not have done in hindsight, but I'm glad that I did, because now I have the Creamfield cast and all the shenanigans that they do. But definitely learned from the experience. Yeah, yeah. That's why I said that I do enjoy it. It was just the commission stuff that was making me not enjoy it. Yeah, it was just a big learning experience. That's all it was. And I feel like I got better because of it. And yes, excuse my unorthodox way of drawing, where I don't do construction lines and blah 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 blah. Hopefully this won't take too long, because I don't know how much longer I'll stream for. I thought I was going to get through this, well, get to working on these sooner, but I was still working on Magica. but that's okay because I can always work on these off stream. But I at least want to get the initial line art drawn. But yeah, I'll probably get all 5 Tiffany picks done either this week or by next week. Obviously, it'd be by next week because it's not like I won't be able to do it. Let's see what's on. Here we go. Came back and decided to die me. Cream-filled blue jam with some attention. Saying her the burger is starting to make me hungry. I would say this is probably like, because this pick is supposed to take place like the day after, and the whole idea is that Tiffany wins like a 1,000th customer, and so she basically gets free food for, I was gonna say, a year. So we're gonna see the consequences of that. That's my thoughts. That was my idea, at least. So I think. Oh yeah, this is just how I draw. I can't do framework. It just felt weird. And if I do, it's for like very minor things, like for example, like say I needed an elbow position in a certain way, then I might do a framework or whatever, like this, like if it has to do with like foreshortening or something, like I might do that for a specific thing, but I don't do it for the entire body. I don't know. It feels weird, so I can't do it. Is she going to have a pot belly? Yeah, she got a bit of a gut going. Still think I need to do the rest of her first before that, but I'll just have that as a marker. And she's gonna be wearing different clothing this time. So yeah, I would say the first 2 picks of Tiffany are just going to be showing her more gradually getting fatter, whereas picks 3, 4, and 5 are going to be like, all right, clearly she's been eating too much of this fast food. Wish I could have better with F-Flame work. My racer dominates. Will they be released weekly or once they're done? They're going to be released once they're done. Because I want to try to get them all done as quickly as I can. For real, I love the way her gut fills out in Chapter 5. Oh, yeah. What do you mean my year's up? Picture the other fat girls in the background have their eyes right. It's like, oh, I won 1,000th customer, and I get free food for a year, and all the other bigger women are like, this bitch, this skinny hoe. Well, she ain't gonna be skinny much longer. But yeah, like, doing the weight gain drive, I just thought it'd be something fun to do. And like, I've seen other like weight gain drives, and how I was trying to figure out like the best way to do this. Because like some people do it based on like, oh, if you do it on likes, then each like equals this many pounds. And knowing me, I would try to be hyper accurate with how that would look. So like, let's just say Tiffany gained like 100 pounds. It's like, okay, what is that going to look like? So instead of going mad over that, I decided to just be like, all right, just meet these goals, and I'll just draw the sequence that I had planned. And if it makes the goals cool, if it doesn't, well, that saves me time on drawing stuff. Like the initial ideas, I thought it was going to take a lot longer for the picks to get funded, and so in the meantime, I was just going to work on other shit. But lo and behold, everybody was thirsty for the fox, and so here we are. I can't wait to see how she gains. Wanted to ask, what was the inspiration for bad ending Marcy's outfit? I was basically looking at like more office or secretary like outfits and stuff like that, and just kind of like mixed a few things together that I was seeing from like different designs that I was referencing. So I kind of just put those together, and then I also like thigh highs, so I wanted her to have thigh highs. And then the red was just to mostly illustrate that she's supposed to be a villain in this story. That's why it was red. Because most of the time, with certain characters, the color red represents both a hero and a villain. Most of the time, at least. That's why Zero in Mega Man X was red. And originally Mega Man was supposed to be red, but they realized they could get more colors out of with blue from the Nintendo, so they went with blue instead. That's why you have Proto Man, who's red. The more you know. Kind of hit how much of a freak I am, because that belly is looking nice. Nah, it's okay to be a freak. Some people kind of need people to be a little bit of a freak. Because you'd be surprised. Some women are like, oh no, I look like this, no one's going to want me. And then they're like, sweetheart, I'm pretty sure there's at least several guys crushing on you somewhere. You just got to look for them. You would be very surprised. That's why, like, I've had friends who thought that because they had big boobs that they weren't attractive. And I'm just sitting there going like, what? But then again, like, from what I understand, there was like a lot of asshole people that try to tear them down for whatever reason. Like, I've had a lot of friends who just, like, get told things just to make them stop acting the way they acted. Like, acting normal. And so they started getting, like, more depressed and stuff like that. Just a lot of negative BS from, like, high school and college days. So it was surprising how people purposely do that just to tear people down. And let's fix this a bit. I don't like how that part looks. Set that. Take it over. There we go. Every time I think about red, it makes me think. I mean, the whole point that you learn anatomy and color theory and all that to begin with is so that you can manipulate it when you actually start doing art. Because the whole point is that you want to be able to learn it, understand how it works, and then break it to manipulate it into whatever you want. Oh yeah, like I've seen women who were like Tiffany's build, like her standard build, who thought that they were fat, and I'm like, in what way? And I mean, a lot of it's a mental game, because because everybody's always comparing themselves to somebody else. So whether it's based on talent or physical appearance, they're always going to think negatively of themselves. It's just, how the mind works. Yeah, we can do it this way. Because I want her to be just chubby enough where it's like, okay, she's been eating these burgers for quite a bit. But, like, not enough for her to, like, care. Probably plump out her hips a little, her handles a little more. But it's messed up. It's just dumb that people would rather tear others down than just to work on themselves or worry about themselves. And some people take that shit far. Like, there'll be people who will hate on you for fucking years, even after, like, high school days and stuff like that. They will hate on you for years, to the point where they, like, try to purposely get you fired from jobs. And I'm like, is this, like, your sole purpose of living at this point? It's like, Jesus. Oh yeah, people slowly figured out. It's like, oh, are you into chubby women? I'm like, yeah. It's like, was it not obvious enough? And like, one of my friends, she has a huge butt, so I'm just like, oh yes, never gonna get tired of that. Especially when she knocks shit over with her butt by accident. That shit's always gonna be funny. I'm definitely going to have Jam do that in one of the comics. So if you ever see me just make Jam knock shit over with her ass, you'll know why. Oh, I think my friends knowing that I'm into this stuff, like, it almost excuses why I compliment on certain things. It's like, oh my god, this looks like this. I'm like, yeah, but your butt looks fine, so whatever. And they just laugh and get a chuckle out of it. They're not offended or anything. Like, I'm pretty sure if they had a problem, they'd tell me. And I even tell them, like, hey, if you have a problem with me saying something, just, speak up. Like, I'm not gonna get offended or anything. Just let me know. Okay. Yeah, usually your crotch would be, like, right there. But debating on what kind of outfit she's gonna have. Probably give her shorts. And then she'll have to start wearing sweats soon. The idea is that she's walking kind of forward, but I might have to shift things a bit more. Yeah, might have to move that leg a bit, just so it's a little bit more angled. But I always disliked it when people were really good at drawing, but then just kind of gave up on it. Whether it be because they thought they didn't have enough talent, or they were too focused on the financial part of it, or it's like, oh, well, if I'm not working at this company or making this much money doing it, then why should I do it? Actually, go back. Let's cut this. There we go. Now I can mess with it. Like, they're too fixated on finances, which I understand. Like, obviously you gotta, unfortunately, care about money. But there were just, like, a lot of talented artists that just stopped because of situations like that, and it's really sad. That sounds hard to control for the compliment stuff. Like, I just speak up. I just speak my mind, honestly. And, like, I'm not doing anything. Like, I don't creep on people or anything like that. I just compliment something if I feel it should be complimented, and then move on. I remember one time I got asked if I was a furry, and then I was asked to explain what furries were, and that was a fun time. And my first question was like, what brought this up? And then they explained to me the situation, and I just laughed. And then I explained like the whole like situation with like fursuit stuff, because they were asking me like, oh, do furries just have sex in fursuits? I'm like, they can. It's an option. It's not the sole reason why they would wear the suit, but it's definitely a thing they can do. But I'm pretty sure it was mostly just because of the whole news reports things about furries and stuff like that, and they always try to make it seem like it's just a degenerate thing and that's it. Like it's only for having sex in fursuits and that's it. And it's like, no, that's not it at all. That's just like a fraction of it, if at all, because some people don't even do that. Let's not curve it, because that's going to make it look like it's in a certain position. There we go. Let's just straighten this back a bit. Yeah, the Wombo combo. Oh yes, the BFG and the big fucking girl. No, BFG, big fat girl. Should we have a bit more? No, she won't have a rump yet. She will in the next one though. Mostly she's just getting a bit of a gut because it's only been like the next day, because she's been like cramming them down. So her stomach is kind of enlarged more from just like overeating rather than actually gaining the weight first. Like some of it's gained, but not a lot. After this one, it'll be like, I don't know, a week. Nah, a week sounds too much time. I want to say like maybe day 3, and then afterwards will be her getting like really big. But yeah, the explanation with her right now is just like, oh, she won, she was the 1000th customer or whatever, so she gets free shit. And then she also ends up liking their burgers too. Actually, let's make that bigger. She took home a lot of burgers. Give her a big old bag. You gotta treat the lady, you know. Oh yeah, NFT, nice fucking tummy or nice fucking tits. Oh yeah, when I was making the Underground Collectors auction thing, I was originally gonna call it NFT as a joke because I was gonna call it naughty furry trash. But then I decided to actually like make it sound more fun, like more towards sticking to like the themes of the stuff that I do. So I made it based off of like the underground from World Gates or Black Circus. So I made it stick to it, keep like a theme instead. What else? To be fair, being a human sucks. A lot of this, yeah. I feel like a lot of the fairy tale stuff that we like to read really got the higher end of the stick there. Because it's like, oh, they live in a world with dragon people and cat women, but no, we're just stuck with humans. I was like, really? We couldn't have something fantasy like in real life? No, nothing. All the fantasy shit has cooler shit than us, man. Our timeline / multiverse dimension sucks. That's also like how I feel like I feel like if I'm drawing like world gates and iHat and all that, I feel in some form me doing so makes it actually become like a multiverse, like it will exist in some timeline or multiverse or whatever. So somewhere out there, there it really is a Marcy getting fattened up by a Skylar, and that makes me feel good. That makes me feel good to think is like, oh yeah, I'm the reason this universe exists. Good. Good. I can sleep at night knowing that somewhere out there really is a Marcy getting fattened up by a Skylar. And you know what? I wouldn't have it any other way unless I was able to actually go to that world and be like, yes, now anything I do will happen. It's kind of like the whole dimensional tier thing, where it's like, you know how we could possibly have a dimension higher than us, but then we're in our own dimension, and then beneath us is our fiction that we draw or write, and or like media, and then any media that exists within our fantasy worlds has their own dimensions, and then so on and so forth. It's like a layer thing. They probably look super weird or creepy because of animalistic traits. Maybe, but I don't know. Seen enough CG furry characters to be kind of comfortable with however they look at this point. It's like, yeah, you know what? I think we'd be good. I think we're good. Obviously, this depends on their actual looks and design, but I don't think it would take very long for furries to accept it. Like a cake, it has layers. Oh yes. Yeah, basically gonna be like SpongeBob having the magic pencil. Yeah, I'm gonna give her shorts. Some tight jeans shorts. Let's curve you out just a little more. Knee-jerk jam into the multiverse. The consequences are... Yeah, she probably exists in some form. Yeah, like, all I care about is just drawing comics and, making the stories that I want to make. And anything that deviates from that just feels like an annoyance. Because it's like, I could be trying to do the most simplest job in the world, and yet some bullshit with everybody's politics and other nonsense will just make shit harder. And it's like, really? I just want to do this one thing. And yet everything else just makes it hard for no other reason other than people are just fucking greedy as shit. And let's fix this. I want this to be more curved upwards. There we go. It's like, oh no, we gotta go start a war, so now prices on certain things go up. And I'm like, really? Now it costs me more money just to do the simplest thing that I wanted to do? Great. And a lot of the times going over wars over the most stupidest shit. Of course, helping people's freedom is an important thing, but if it's anything other than that, it's like almost a dumb reason. Obviously context matters though, because you gotta know what's going into the situation. But then it'll just be like other dumb shit. It's like, oh, we need to ban this kind of content because children. And I'm like, so what are the parents doing? Just sitting on their ass? Not parenting, apparently. Because people still have it in their head that cartoons are only for kids for some stupid reason. When that's never been the case. Which lawsuit are they losing? With the multiverse theory, I can imagine Becky working at a fucking Hot Topic, and she purposely turns around, bends her fat ass over just to entice people on purpose. And then she fucks her boss. Tablets are the new TVs. I mean, tablets are fine, but I don't know. Other than the drawing tablet I have for my computer, I'm just kind of like whatever with them. But hey, you know, you use the tools that you have, like whatever works for you, and like nothing wrong with it. And thicken up the thighs just a bit. Yeah, like I said, the first two picks are just going to be gradual. And then after that, 3, 4, and 5 are going to be like, alright, she's been eating this junk food for quite a while now. And it's becoming very obvious. Like, originally I was going to have her tummy be a little bit smaller than that, but I was like, nah, this is fine. This is fine. Get some nice pooch belly. Yeah, Becky would probably work at all the like degenerate places. And not give a fuck. Like if a woman walked into like a sex store, she would just recommend. It's like, might I recommend the 20-inch? And they're like, what? It's like that's way too big. And it's like, not with that attitude. Or it's like, with that attitude, yeah. It's like, of course it's gonna be if you're real fucking pussy about it. And then they'll be like, you're a rude person, you know that? And she's like, uh-huh. What else is new? She is our lovable asshole. Becky at Hooters. She would probably purposely not go there just to fuck with you. She would purposely avoid it just because you brought it up. And are trying to play into her having big titties. Or if she did work there, she would probably just wear a fucking sweater. Like she already does. In a bit more. Actually, no. I think it was fine the way it was. I just need to thicken this part out more. Yeah, her entire existence is blue balling. She's probably not even gonna. Tiffany's probably not even gonna think about it. She's gonna be wearing like a tank top, like she always would, not even thinking about her gut hanging out. And then if people try to give her lip, she's gonna just chew them out. Or if people try talking about her behind her back, she's like, bitch. probably get pissed off with like, oh, I can't be in cheerleading because I got too fat. What the fuck? And then she just goes and grabs like another burger. Eat while she's mad. The fourth pick, I wanted to be where she's trying to walk back to the restaurant to get more food, but she's like getting tired because she's all fucking heavy and shit. That's what I want to do, at least. I don't know if I'll change the idea later. I'm really not liking how this is looking. There we go. Yeah, I just gotta remember that she's at an angle. And we'll just do this. Actually, let's move that over to here. Rejecting society, embrace burger. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Becky has accepted that she has a fat ass. Because of her kangaroo genes. Doesn't help that she also has horse thighs, so, or horse legs, so. It was gonna be inevitable. It's like, look, you're part horse, you got part horse, part kangaroo, and you're part gator, so you're gonna have a thick gator tail too. Like you're batting 1,000 here. It's like you're going to have a fat ass. But knowing Becky, she'll just take advantage of it. She's like, yeah, I got a fat ass, what about it? Or she'll even just make a crude joke. It's like, yeah, I got a fat ass, and unfortunately, you're not going to have any of it. Or she won't even say unfortunately, she'll just say your dumbass isn't going to get any of it. She definitely tease out of spite. Actually, that looks a little too thin. Let's put it over here. And then there's her sister, who will probably, press her buttons a bit. Tiffany tried to do the pyramid. Yeah. What God gave us this woman. It's like, look, you gotta remember, God gave us big women. We gotta appreciate the bigger women. And shit, back in the day, a heftier woman meant that she was being taken care of. I don't know how the hell that got twisted around later on down the road. I guess all it was just a fucking trend. So everything just goes full circle. Shit. Being chubby meant that you were well taken care of. Fuck it, I'll just make a story where it has to do with some like fucking dynasty shit, and then the queen gets fat or something. I don't know. Whatever my interest lies in the future, it will be done. I got more than enough characters and more than enough stories. Hopefully I'll be able to do at least a big chunk of them before I kick the bucket. whenever that will be. Unless I figure out how to live forever, then we'll just have fetish content forever. So I opt for the latter. I'll go find immortality so I can draw forever. Shouldn't be too hard. Oh, I would laugh if, like, in a week I actually did discover it somehow, and I just get back online and be like, guys, you'll never believe what happened. Like, if somehow such a scenario were to happen, I would be both amazed and amused. Well, just don't piss off Becky, and she won't kick your dick back inside of you. I think you'll be fine after that. Let's be honest, Becky in a secretary outfit would be kind of hot. Especially if she was wearing some pantyhose too. And she already has the glasses, just gotta put her hair up into like a ponytail or a bun. Like, I see no problem here. Like, this is a win-win. Yes, I want to put another thing. So that way it's just double B's. Say, welcome to BB's. Yeah, she is already my secretary, technically. She is my mascot. And I originally made her just so I could be an asshole. It's like, look, I'm really being annoyed by certain people, and I just want to vent. So I made her. And then she became my mascot, so that worked out. Don't make me imagine such prime beauty. Nah, you gotta imagine it so it'll become real. You gotta believe in it with all your heart and soul. Thank you. I think I initially drew her, I was going to draw her as just a duck, but then I was like, nah, duck sounds too basic. So then I just threw everything else at her. And somehow made it work. Denial, fatty. Well, in terms of canon, no, but obviously for this big, it's just gonna be dumb fun. But there's definitely going to be characters that have the stuff that you're thinking about, like, you know, characters being in denial about their getting too fat, or characters who get dumber or something and become fat on purpose, or, you know, just all over the board. Like, there's gonna be different types of characters. And then obviously there's stories I want to do of, like, oh, here comes the weight loss comic, and everyone's gonna be like, no, but luckily they'll have the Fat Lovers Club to save them from that tragedy. And then there's, like, other comics I want to do, like characters being impregnated with eggs or other creatures or vor or whatever else. Whatever sparks my interest. by those moments in time. Okay, let's just draw this arm. Alright, I'm probably gonna have to put this on another layer just so it doesn't look shitty. What? You son of a bitch! I'll find you. I fucking love that skit with the Joker. That was fun. Let's tone this down just so I can see what I'm doing. It's the Junker. Behold the Junker. The Junker is just a chunky Joker. Which there probably exists one because of multiverse. And that's the other thing about multiverse is that in some way, in one universe, you are Batman. And you know what? That's pretty comforting to know. Assuming multiverse theory is correct, there is a universe where you are Batman. The jokester baby. Yeah, there's multiple ways of going about it, like having a character think they're having an eating disorder so they believe that they're skinny, but they're actually like really, really, really fat because they can't see themselves in the way that everyone else is seeing them. So, you know, there's multiple ways of going about it. Characters having body swap stuff, you know, whatever works. That's why storytelling is endless. You'll never run out of material. Literally, the only thing that stops you is time. Time and technically money. But if you have money, then you don't have to care about it. You just need time. And time to erase all this detail that I spent time doing because I didn't know where I was going with this. And now I do. And so I gotta erase these details that I spent time doing. Yay! And now they're dead. It's all gone. No longer here. Tiffany eating a Big Bird. I'll probably have some of it dripping on her. Harley Chin, ha. That's a good one. I like the character from Venture Brothers named Fat Chance, and he had like that weird portal hole in his stomach. And then he's like, "Before you ask, no, I'm not. I was not always fat. This is just the result of a mad experiment gone wrong." And everyone's like, "Oh yeah, we can totally relate." because he was with all the other villains that had like scientific mishaps happen to them. That looks a little bit too low. Take you to the Andrew dimension. Depends on which one, because you gotta find the right one or else you'll get killed. That's another thing you gotta think about when you do this stuff. You gotta be prepared. Can't just go to any universe, you gotta go to the right one. Like when Brian and Stewie went to the universe where the planet was run by dogs. I think her hand looks a little too small. Just a little bit. Up. Okay, we got the ultimate wall that can't be beat. Summons legal. Yeah, they must have spent so much money on that fucking Disney World. Like, that was the most animated thing they ever did in that show. It was totally worth it. Yeah. It basically just got to the point where there was nothing more to do with the characters except turn them all into assholes. Because now literally every character is a dick. But nothing we can do about it. We don't control the show. Yeah, it's like... It's mostly just not that humorous anymore. There might be a decent joke every once in a while, but now it just mostly focuses on, like, hyper-violence. Like, trying to make something as bloody as possible. And even then, it's, like, not that entertaining. It's just like, okay. And it's probably because of the way the show itself is set up that having the hyperviolence just doesn't work for it. Because, like, I don't mind violent stuff. I mean, I watch fucking anime, Spawn, and other ridiculous bloody cartoons throughout the years, so I've never had a problem with that. It's just when you already have something working the way it was working, and then you try doing all of that, it just feels off. And then most of the characters are just kind of assholes for the sake of being assholes. Yeah, like the whole multiverse thing was pretty creative. That was like kind of like one of the last good episodes they had. I always thought it was weird with that one dog character they added, the female one, where it was supposed to be like her and Brian hooking up, but then like for whatever reason they gave Brian performance envy for some reason. And I'm like, Brian literally chased down another dog in the middle of a racetrack field in front of millions of people and had his way with her. And you're telling me that he's having performance anxiety in front of two people? Yeah, old Family Guy still gets me. And then, oddly enough, American Dad is actually really good. Like, I remember back in the day, I didn't think American Dad was, like, that good because of Family Guy at the time. But then once Family Guy started getting worse, and you start watching American Dad, then American Dad actually had, like, really good episodes and stories and stuff like that. So it was like, okay, this is how it is. This is the evolution now. Especially the episode with Roger and his grenadine. That shit was funny. I'd have to look at it, see if it's any good, or check it out at least. They tried changing the show by killing Brian. Yeah, but I mean, like, they were never gonna kill him off forever. Like, obviously he's a popular character. They would never just get rid of him, unless the only way they were ever gonna get rid of him. Well, no, because then they would have to get rid of Stewie and any other character that Seth MacFarlane played. So yeah, that wasn't gonna work anyway. So yeah, they were never gonna kill off Brian forever. They were just gonna go through that route and then bring him back for after like however many episodes. But then because of all the complaints, they kind of just cut down the number of episodes they were going to do with the other dog character and brought back Brian. I'm more curious on who it was that actually ran over Brian, because they never show the driver. The driver showed no form of stopping, and it just seemed like the driver came out of nowhere. So it would be interesting if they actually cover that and find out who was driving the car at the time. Because it'd be interesting if it was like Brian himself, who from like another timeline or something, or whoever else. Like, that would have been interesting, but they never touched on it. Yeah, it would be interesting if Soul Eater had like a reboot series and it went off of the manga. That would be interesting. The not original, but like the version that they did wasn't awful though. But yeah, if they had stuck with the manga, Corona gets fucking psychotic. Uh, let's have it. Yeah, whenever time travel is involved, it goes off of very loose rules a lot of the time. I mean, granted, that's kind of how time works in general. Not everything is as simple as stopping one event, because there's always going to be some form of a ripple effect. And the same can be said for, like, when you're designing stories. Because it's like if you have, it's like when people wanted Tiffany to be spared from Skylar in Chapter 5 of Neutral Ending, and it just didn't make sense for Skylar to do that because of all the repercussions it would come with. Because they were treating it more, because people were seeing it more as like humor comic, or like a comic that doesn't have a world to be involved with, and just saying like, oh, she's gonna be humiliated when she goes to school, and I'm gonna be like, people are gonna be wondering how she got that fucking fast when they just saw her at the party the day before, and then because Skylar would let her go, she can just easily rat him out. Like, it'd be very easy for him to get in trouble at this point, and it just didn't make sense to do so. Let's make her stomach a little bit more round. But then again, that's more me taking the world into account, and that was probably one of the reasons why I wanted to do the true ending route, because I wanted to fix a lot of things that just wouldn't make sense anymore, since it was part of it became a part of Worldgates' universe. Like, do I need to see that part? Nah, it should be good. Whoa, what happened here? Ah, my pen. Why? Okay, now it's working. That's weird. Just suddenly stopped working for a moment. Or at least not in the way that I had it. Yeah, like... Yeah, like, Tiffany's plan was like, yeah, I'm going to call the cops. Obviously, she was like, kind of stuck in her whole bingeing zone thing, but, once she snaps out of it, that's kind of what was going to happen. The manga had literal boob sickness, where everyone was obsessed with tits just because of Krona. Oh yeah, because people were trying to find out if Krona was a boy or a girl. And I'm just like, it doesn't matter. Unless their gender is like actually necessary for the story, then don't worry about it. You can have a flamboyant boy or an androgynous girl or whatever. Yes, Skylar has different powers between neutral ending and true ending. Yeah, I like that people were trying to figure out what was going on since Roy was still alive. And like Skylar was still acting all sinister. It's like, good, everyone's paying attention. And I like how some people were like, okay, so in this timeline, he never met the devil, but he still has powers, so what's happening here? And then there's been like some explanation to that, because I've explained that aura is a thing that certain characters can have, but it's not like just a thing that everybody can learn. Sometimes you have aura, and you can't control it. Sometimes you have so little that it's unnoticeable. and then sometimes you like gain the ability, but you don't know that you have it, so you're like having a bunch of shit going on that you don't understand what's going on, and you'd have to find a specialist to explain it to you. So in Skylar's case, he basically unlocked a power at one point, but he didn't realize it until way later, or until at least when he started experimenting with it. And then he was like, okay, but then he still didn't have like complete control over it until he got older. Okay. Got these. Give her some blush because she's enjoying her burger. There we go. The actual stuffing is so fucked. Yeah. Good, I'm glad you enjoyed that part. I might do something like that again. Well, yeah, I'm most likely will do something like that again. I'm not sure if it will be Skylar. But I can always do that with another character. Skylar do still be acting sus. Yeah, he is pretty sussy. Still would love to see Ultimate Universe, a chubby fat version of Mummy Jackal species someday. Oh, with yeah, I might do something like that. There's quite a number of stuff I can do. There was a time where I was gonna make Tiffany a zombie, but that idea fell through because I was like, nah. Should I do anything to her shirt? I might add stripes later. No, I should add stripes to the third picture. Or the first one, or the second one. Okay, so did all this. It's pretty much what she's gonna be. Walking from the mall is like, oh, and got my free burgers because I'm the 1,000th winner. So fuck you guys. And then she's already got a bag of more junk food inside. I think I'll widen it up just a little bit more. Trying to show that she has a pretty big bag. Slowly making her addicted. Let's play this for now. I mean, I can make the bag bulgy because I don't plan on drawing her having bags after this. She's just gonna get. Well, she might have it in the second pick, but after that, she's not gonna have them because she's gonna be too busy either stuffing her face or complaining that everyone else is bitching about how fat she's gotten. And then the fourth one's where she's supposed to be exhausted trying to walk to the mall because it's so far away. She's like, oh my god, why is it so far in the back of the food court? With her fat ass trying to get some more food. And then the last one will be pretty fun. So I'll add some bumps and stuff like that just to make it look like it's kind of crowded with junk. Just add a few of them. Nothing crazy. Yeah, I wanted to work on both of them, but it's probably going to take me a while just to finish this one up, because I think I'm going to stop streaming soon. Because it's already been almost 4 hours. Jesus, the video's going to be fucking huge when I try to render it. Because this will be posted on YouTube. But yeah, I'm definitely going to work on these off stream, of course, so I will post them when they're ready. But this one will probably be ready in well, I can't be definite with the hours because sometimes I mess around with background filters and stuff like that. But I definitely want to get at least this one done tonight, and I'll try to get the second one done, or at least far along tonight. There we go. I know, right? So much fucking time has passed. Me, I'm always staying up late, which is not a good habit to have, but it's what I do. And I'll just change the curve of this line a bit. Change this one too to accommodate. And there we go. There we go, now she's got a big stuffed bag full of burgers. Let's grab this and get her finger in here. Oh yeah, it's fine. Because the whole point is that she's overdoing it. It's like, oh look, I got this free food. Actually, I kind of want this just a little bit more chubbier. Just a skosh more chubbier. I hope you don't mind that I'm making her chubbier, you know. I know some of you don't like that, and it's understandable. But, you know, sometimes I just gotta do what I want. You gotta follow your fat heart and go with the fat dream. And I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but you know, it had to be done. I'm more than okay. Follow your gut. There we go. And just put a bit of a dark line under here. There we go. That looks nicer. And yeah, the next picture she'll be a little bit more plumper. This is just the start of her overdoing it from the start. And then it's gonna hit her hard. Excuse me. Alright, I think I'm gonna stop for now. But I'm probably gonna log off, take a small break, probably eat something, because I haven't eaten. And yeah, I'll just work on this more. But yeah, thank you everybody for coming. I will probably. I'm gonna see if I can stream again on Friday. I'm not sure because I might have to take somebody to the airport and stuff like that. But if I don't, then I'll stream again next Wednesday. But thank you everybody for coming. Thank you again if you were a part of the donation drive. And like I said, this is so that it's free for everybody. I'm gonna post this on publicly, so it's not like an exclusive picture or anything like that. But yeah, when they're done, I will post them as soon as possible. But yeah, thank you again. I'm glad everyone's enjoying my stuff. The Magica the spell pick will be up as soon as I log off, because I'll just have those posted on Patreon and subscribe. Or well, yeah, the Patreon and Subscribestar. And I'll work on April O'Neil's picture either tonight if I have time, or I'll just start working on hers tomorrow. Creamfield will also get worked on soon. So I'll be slowly cranking out the Tiffany picks, but I'll try to get at least one Tiffany pick done a day, so that way it's not taking forever with them. But yeah, I will see you guys the next time I see you. Thank you again, and you guys have a good night and take care. Bye-bye.